to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. I'm on episode 245. Hello, hello, hello. Let's get into these topics. So, the Brat and her wife have chosen a white sperm donor. Congrats. I mean, like, how do you respond to this? So she actually made the announcement. Actually, she shocked us, right? She shocked us that she was pregnant and that she was the one carrying, right? Because the Brat has presented herself as this non-feminine woman. Let's just say that. And though she has always had her face beat for the gods, like she always had well done makeup, she has always dressed as a non-feminine woman. So for her to be the one carrying was just very interesting. Maybe her wife did not have the means to carry, meaning maybe she had some complications and it was just healthier for the Brat to carry instead. Or maybe they just agreed and the Brat wanted to carry more than the wife did. Who knows? Nonetheless, she is the one who is with child, carrying the child, and she decided to go with a white sperm donor after many hours and time spent finding the right sperm. So now, for those who may not know, because I actually was made aware of this recently, but I heard of this as a rumor, but never did my research or never really like looked into it even more, whether intentionally or not. But with sperm banks, men could just like drop off their sperm and get paid for that. And though I think it's like $100 a pop. So if you may find yourself in a financial, downward spiral, giving your sperm may be the way to go, especially if you like to jack off and you typically produce a lot of sperm when you do so. This may be a great route for you financially. And if you don't care about having your biological seeds out there and not knowing them, people do this, people do this and have found a way to feel comfortable with the idea of just giving up their kid, essentially. Now, the morale of this, I don't know if I'm like a proponent of just like constantly giving away your sperm, just because it's like, damn, do you not ever wonder about the kids that you have given away? Like, I don't know, I'm literally just thinking out loud about it. I'm not trying to be judgmental about this process because I do understand how beneficial it is for those who are on IVF journeys. And when you have same-sex couples, this is something that is very beneficial, particularly for female couples. So I do get the benefit. I just wonder about the mindset of the man who decides to just give up his sperm so consistently for financial benefit. But I just, what is that? Like, what does that really mean? Anyway, so the Brat and her wife, Jessica Judy Harris Dupart, will welcome a biracial baby boy after selecting a white sperm donor to conceive their first child. The happily married pair are sharing their is right, because pair is, but anyway, that's how the article's written, are sharing their pregnancy journey in the season 3 of the WE TV series Brat Loves Judy. Last week, the show followed the rapper and hair care mogul as they began their IVF journey and selected a sperm donor. Quote, "We looking through the cryo bank thing, but we don't see no black people," Brat told their doctor. Okay. Uh, she said the issue is that there just aren't enough black donors. So they were already in a limited pool. And the black donors apparently that they did come across, she said look like Jiminy Cricket. Now, for those who may not be familiar of Jiminy Cricket, so has a historical reference. It's from a Disney fictional character called Jiminy Cricket, and the show is actually called Talking Cricket. Oh no, so it's from the Adventures of Pinocchio, and so it's a character from that show. And I'm still not understanding the correlation with a black man and Jiminy Cricket, but I instantly just assumed the name Jiminy Cricket, just the sound of that name made me think of slavery. It made me think of Massa and his slaves, and that slave who's trying to be on the good graces of Massa. So he performs, he does a little dance, he tap dances for the man. That's what I immediately think of when I think of the name Jiminy Cricket. But her reference to that comes from, she painted it as a negative connotation, like, ew, this guy looks like Jiminy Cricket, he's ugly, he has scars on his face, like he's not attractive. I don't like to say the word ugly, let me take that back, but like, just in her eyes, in her perspective, he's ugly, he's unattractive. That's what I mean by that. And one may ask, what do you mean? Like, it's a sperm. How can you tell a sperm is ugly or not? So when you are selecting your sperm, you are given the profile of the donor. You may not know the donor's name. Actually, I think you do know the donor's name, and you get to see a picture of who that donor is and just how he looks like, right? So he may be 5'7", 6'2". So you see his physical characteristics and the likeliness of your child looking like this man. And if the person you're viewing is deemed unattractive from your point of view, then you may choose differently, depending on if you're really into, physical attributes over DNA or genetic strengths. So maybe despite him being so intelligent and a strong analytical thinker, if he's 5'9" or if he's 5'7", then I want my baby to be tall, right? So you'll just squash him out of the option bank and look at the next person. And the next person may be 6'3", but he's not ambitious. He kind of demonstrates this lazy and just inadequate personality. So you're unimpressed intellectually, but you're impressed physically. So sometimes there's a give or take, just like with anybody in real life, right? Despite the sperm bank situation. But nonetheless, apparently despite already having a limited pool of black donors, the pool that they were already in, the men weren't as attractive as they would have preferred. She said, quote, "And that dude looked like Jiminy Cricket. I was like, I'm sorry, but that wasn't going to be my choice." Okay. So as a result, the couple decided a white sperm donor was going to be their option. Quote, "Because we didn't have a lot to choose from, he definitely wasn't black. But I think we did a great job with picking. He's handsome, he's tall, and I think he's going to look beautiful with my wife's egg." So there's that. The Brat is having a white baby. End of the episode. I'll see y'all next time. No. I mean, I just thought it was an interesting topic, so that's why I wanted to talk about it briefly. But I mean, who cares? Let's move on. Okay, so I've been so fascinated lately with van life. I've been on YouTube on a spiral, and you know how YouTube is, or really just with any social media platform, there's a whole community that you could find of that topic, which is so fascinating to me. But now, van life, for those who may not know what that is, because I didn't know what it was until recently. Actually, let's start off from the beginning. I don't know if I ever talked about this movie that I watched called Nomadland recently. I watched it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Let me make sure it's the right. Yeah. Nomadland is a phenomenal movie that came out in 2020. And it's about, you know how you type in something on Google and it has a section that says people also ask. And then one of the questions after I typed in Nomadland is, what was the point of the movie Nomadland? That is so funny to me. So I think it's funny because sometimes people don't like these, like, I want to say pointless movies, but like these movies that don't necessarily have the typical conflict, rising action, resolution, climax, you know, just the whole makeup of what a plot is. And Nomadland doesn't, I'm sure it does if you really look at it, but it's not as obvious. It's more of a internal experience you go through while watching. It makes you think about life itself, what's important, what's not important, you know, what happens when everything materialistically is stripped away from you. Who are you still, and how do you persevere and move on? I think that really is the point of the movie, and I just love movies like that because it really makes you think about what really matters. You know, yes, money matters. I want to kind of improve my way of thinking about money, but I also want us to have a balanced approach when it comes to just the intangible in life, you know, love, connection, friendship, relationship, you know, stuff like that you really can't quantify. You just have to be in it and be present. But it's a really beautiful movie. Please check it out. And so just a synopsis, it's a woman in her 60s who, after losing everything in the Great Recession, embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van-dwelling modern-day nomad. And I think that's a perfect way to just say what it's about without giving too much. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but as you watch, you see this woman who's up in age, you know, and this is actually a real experience of many people who decide to embark on a life of being a nomad. And, you know, what I find so interesting is that with anything in life, there's always a class system, right? Like, if you are someone who have more resources, who have more privileges, who have money, you know, who has money, you have more access to things. You have more of a way to live a comfortable, luxurious lifestyle. While someone living that same lifestyle does not, right? Like, so for example, what I mean by that is you could have two people living a nomad life, living in their van. One person who comes from a privileged background has a decked out van, a Mercedes-Benz van, a full shower in the van, a very comfortable queen size bed in the van, a gas oven, gas stove, little garage, not even a little, but a good sized garage in the back of the van. The van feels so spacious because of how it's designed. It's well insulated. All is a beautiful, well stocked. Anyone will want to live in this van. That's the woman or person, whether a woman or man or couple even, who has a privileged background and could afford such a van. Yet, let's look at person B, who does not come from a background of privilege, but does embark on a nomad lifestyle and is living in a van. And this person has just enough, So this person has a bed, but doesn't have a shower. And definitely doesn't have a toilet compost system in the van. The van is cramped. You can't really stand up too tall in it. You pretty much bend when you get in the back in order to get to the bed section. You just have enough. Okay, you don't have these decked out lights. You don't have these gas stoves. She has you have those electronic stoves where it's to go, like those to go stoves that people will have when they're camping. This person has that. Person B has that. And hey, that's that person's van life experience. And, neither is right or wrong, but when you just think about just class and economic privilege and opportunities and wealth and things that you're either born into it or not, or you get lucky, or you marry someone who has that privilege, so you have it by proxy. Whether you have it or don't, right? It's still always a matter of the haves and haves not. The haves and have nots. It's always a matter of there's always the Joneses. There's always someone or a group of people who could afford a luxurious version of what you have. And I just thought that was so fascinating. So anyway, I'm in the spiral of watching all these van life videos on YouTube, and you see these people who truly live in their van, or from what they show, right? Like, they could be lying. It could all just be for content. Who knows? At least maybe some of them are lying. Who knows? But let's just say it's all real. They're actually living to what they demonstrate in their videos. What they demonstrate in the title of their videos. Like, there's a couple of people I've watched so far. Well, many people, not just two. Many people I've watched so far who have lived in their van for at least a year full time. And it's either a solo traveler, whether male or female, or a couple who's been doing it for a while. And the whole aesthetic is really alluring. Like, it's aesthetically pleasing to see how people transform a car, a vehicle, into their dwelling place. Like, it's actually beautiful how you can make anything into a home. Like, you can make your office into a home. You can make your classroom, if you're a teacher, into a home. You can make anything. You can make your car into a home. And I just never even considered that as a thought to explore. Just on some just curiosity type of stuff. I'm not saying this to say that I'm next, right? I'm gonna do that. It's just, I don't know. It kind of made me just fascinated and intrigued. I think for me, I don't know if I want to say this out loud, but what I'm saying is, I just find it fascinating. I think there's a trend of many people deciding to find a way to live without being stationary, or just finding alternative ways of living. Even tiny homes, or people purchasing trailer homes and making it into a tiny home and the surrounding area that home is located in, that's their backyard and front yard. Like it's just fascinating how us as humans can make anything into anything. Like we could create anything into whatever we want. And I just think that is so beautiful, you know? So anyway, so there's a lot of videos on YouTube of van life, and you just get I just got into a frenzy of watching so many videos of different people finding different ways to live comfortably while on the road, and them talking about why they decided to take on this alternative way of living. And honestly, what I'm fascinated and so intrigued and what I admire the most is people going the path of what's less taken, right? The path of most resistance, the road less traveled. I've always loved that poem, The Road Less Traveled. I think that's the title of it. But I remember being exposed to that poem when I was in high school. Is it by Henry David Thoreau? Either way, but I was just so taken aback by it because it's just beautiful to me. It takes a lot of strength to go and do the opposite of what other people are doing around you, right? Maybe you have a circle of people in your life who you grew up with, who you've known since childhood, and they've all did the same thing, what was expected of them. And you took a leap of faith. You held on to your bravery and decided to do something different. Whatever is that different thing to you, I applaud you for it, because it's so easy to fall victim, really, to the pressures of what other people put upon ourselves, right? It's so easy to go about life in the way that others want us to go about life. Like, it's difficult to think for yourself sometimes. I really feel like it, like, not for me, right? It's not for me, but like, obviously it's not for me. But I could see, right? I could see how it's difficult for some people, for many people, to not think for themselves, to be told what to do, to be given directions. What do I do now? To not have that creativity. So I can only imagine, you know, the easy route it is. But every time I would like even try to do what other people have told me to do, it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Try somebody else. You know, so anyway, so all of these things just make me fascinated of like, I just love alternative things, honestly. You know, just alternative way of living, alternative way of just being. I think it's a beautiful way to explore life. Like, life is what you make it. You know, you don't have to live in this constrained, confined type of way. You just gotta live and pursue your happiness however that looks like for you. Anyway, so go ahead and check out that movie Nomadland. But why did I bring up van life? Okay, so there's a little correlation. So there's something that I've learned about, is another new trend called water talk. So I don't have TikTok. I keep saying it all the time. And I don't know. Maybe I should conform to China. Maybe I should. Psych. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows? But I don't know. Anyway, but the point is, there's this trend on TikTok called water talk. And it sounds so silly, like, what? Water talk? But there is a community of people, of women in particular, who take pride in the water bottles that they have and just the aesthetic of the water bottles. Now, honestly, after watching a couple of videos of what water talk is, I think I'm a little bit of a victim of water talk, because, and I'm saying a little bit on purpose, because I'm not, in comparison to some of these girls or women, I am nowhere near how they are. But I am a victim of things that look good. I really do like cute, aesthetically pleasing things. And my water bottles are cute. Well, okay, here's the thing about me. I hate a plastic water bottle. Oh my, no, let me tell you what I hate the most. I hate an empty plastic water bottle. I hate seeing that in front of me. I hate when people are almost done with their plastic water bottle and you hear that noise of that plastic water bottle being almost done. I just hate I hate how you could crush up the plastic water bottle. I hate, maybe it's just plastic for me I don't like, but it's just something about a plastic water bottle. Maybe not say this, but I feel I'm gonna offend some people. I feel like I'm gonna offend some people, but it just feels dirty. Hello? I'm sorry. Like, whenever I would see a plastic water bottle, it will always be with a bunch of mess. So I immediately associate it with dirt and someone who just don't care to clean up after themselves. I'm sorry. That's what I think of. So I just never liked, and I just hate when people, because, oh my gosh, my dad drinks a lot of water, and I get that from him. I've always loved water. I'm a water drinker. It's water and Coke all day. Now, I know I got to stop with the Coke. No, I don't. Let me stop. No, I don't. Maybe I'll take breaks from it periodically. I don't know. I've done that several times, so it's fine. But it's me and my Coke forever. Okay? Me and my Coke forever. Coca-Cola, I mean, in case no one is aware. Well, what was I saying? But yeah, my dad drinks a lot of water. Yet, my dad, he has water bottles, like, you know, you could reuse plastic water bottles, but he has like actual water bottles. And yet he continues to get several plastic water bottles and drink them and leaves the plastic water bottles anywhere and everywhere. You see some water bottles without the cap. Oh my, I hate a plastic water bottle without the cap on it. Like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on? So you see like several of the plastic water bottle just out and about, just living their lives, pouncing around. You see some of them with half water, fourth of water in it. It's just fucking, it's just everywhere. It's fucking, I hate it. And instead of just like reusing an actual water bottle and like refilling that and taking that with him, he just gets packs of plastic water bottles. Anyway, if I haven't stressed enough how much I hate plastic water bottles, I don't know what else to say. But why'd I bring that part up? Anyway, I bring that part up because I, living in my own home now. Well, in my apartment, but my home. I just want to make sure that's clear too. But I just don't like extra stuff. And I feel like with plastic water bottles, first, isn't that not environmentally friendly? What about that? Oh, but you could recycle. No one's fucking recycling, okay? But the point is, I just like pretty things. And I like with my water bottle is that I have the Stanley Cup and I just recently purchased the Hydro Flask. Now, the reason why I got the Stanley Cup is I like the straw part. It just felt so professional. I like the handle. I like that the bottom of it you could easily fit in your car cup holder. So I had that for a couple of months. I still use it, but I was using it consistently from work to home. And I drink water consistently. Like, so it's used. Like, my money is being spent well. Then I decided to also get the Hydro Flask water bottle because I got tired of having to always hold the handle of the Stanley Cup water bottle. And I felt like because the straw was out, like you can't cover the straw. I mean, you could get a straw cover, but that's just like, what? I'm not doing that, right? I mean, I could, but I just don't want to do that. It might mess up the aesthetic for me. So I decided not to do that. No, I decided not to get the straw cover. And I decided to get the Hydro Flask water bottle because after research, I noticed that the top, you could close so it's still a straw. It's like a sippy straw. And you could like put it down and it essentially covers it. So that's what I appreciate, because when I'm walking with my water bottle, I don't have to worry about any dirt or debris being collected at the sippy straw part, you know? Anyway, I hope this is making sense to anyone, to my male listeners. But anyway, I love this water bottle. It's great. And there's the handles at the top, so I feel like it's easier to hold also. I think it's better to hold in comparison to Stanley Cup. But I still love both. So I have both. So I have 2 water bottles, and I'm just so in love with both of them. Like I get excited refilling my water bottles. I feel cool. I like the look of it. It matches my fly. And I just feel like, with anything that we do, we have to find some way of feeling joyful about it. Like, find some way to bring out the joy in our water bottles, not the plastic ones. So I think with me, I find little pockets of joy anywhere, and my water bottles are my pockets of joy. But honestly, so what I learned about this is that there is condescension with anything in life, so for those, I just spent, 10, 12 minutes shitting on plastic water bottles to this day. And I stand by it. I stand by what I said. But I also understand how that comes across to those who only drink plastic water bottles and who don't care to use a real water bottle, a non-plastic one. I can understand how I'm shitting on those who leave their plastic water bottles out and about anywhere, no cover on the top, half drunken. It's just fucking gross to me. But I can understand how it looks like I'm in a place of privilege because I decided to purchase a $50 water bottle, 2 of them, while you got a pack of 60 plastic water bottles, and you reuse maybe a few of them at a time and then finally throw it away by crushing it. I can understand how it appears. But hey, look, I feel like everyone has a point to be the privileged one. And this is my point, to be the privileged one. I will stand by it. I love my nice, pretty water bottles. So shout out to Stanley. Shout out to Hydro Flask. They're the bomb. And I just want us all to move away from plastic water bottles. So if it takes me having to shame you, then shame. let's fucking do it. Speaking of shame, let's talk about homeless people. Sorry, that's horrible. Don't feel shame. I kind of wanted to segue from the van life talk to homelessness. In recent years, the language around homeless people have changed to, from those who are, woke in the negative sense, in the annoying AOC sense, they, instead of saying homeless, they will say the unhoused. So, I will actually say the same thing for those who live in a van or in their vehicle of any sort. You know, I think for so long, I know for myself, before I've been exposed to van life and just alternate ways of living, um, I just immediately dismissed, like, oh, she's homeless, he's homeless, like, ugh. Like, it was this instant dismissive tone I had towards anyone who didn't have a home. A home like we all think a home is, right? A house, an apartment, that type of dwelling. And there was this instant just condescension towards those who decided to live outside, those who decided to live in their vehicle. And I find it to be an area of growth that I finally experienced for myself, to challenge that way of thinking. Like, you don't have to have a physical, like the typical home of a house, of an apartment, to have a home, right? Home is really where the heart is. And I know that sounds so cliche and cheesy and, okay. But it truly is where the heart is. And just like I said earlier, us as humans, we can make anything whatever we want it to be. So I think it's very fascinating that people who do dwell in their vans, who dwell in their Jeep, who dwell in a school bus, they have created that space into their home, however that looks like for them. And I think that is so beautiful. Now, let's also talk about the impact of homeless people. And I'm just going to use that term because that is a term that we are all used to instead of saying unhoused, right? Because sure, you have homeless people who have created their own dwelling and made it their home under the bridge, right? Or in front of your house, right? But anyway, so I'm just going to use homeless because it's just a term that we all know when it comes to homelessness. So homeless people, you know, they're a trip, right? Like, I think we also have to be mindful of just the reality of the effects of homeless people, especially in inner cities. You know, I think, especially for me, so I live in a downtown area. I live in downtown. And I think that there are major differences between living in downtown and living in a suburban area. Because when I was living in the suburbia of Houston, or the suburbs really, I was able to comfortably walk outside and go for a walk around my neighborhood, look at other homes as I walk, not feel like my life is in danger, or someone's about to follow me, or someone's about to say, hey mama, you know that I'm about to smell alcohol at 10 in the morning. Like, I don't have to deal with that. Yet now that I live in downtown, I deal with that. Like, the first and last time I walked around my neighborhood, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this shit again. I'm not doing this shit again. And the reason why I decided to walk out, I really just wanted to look at and just really embrace the fact that, I finally moved to an area I said I wanted to move to. So I wanted to get acclimated to the neighborhood. And yeah, that was the first and last time I did that, because as soon as I stepped two steps to the right, it was a bombarding of homeless people, just eye contact, someone doing the Dougie, someone smelling like fish. It was a lot, and I think because some homeless people, you can't tell, but I always could tell, because I just have a good sense of who is who, nigga. Like, I know your place in society. I need to know. I need to know for my self-preservation, right? I need to know, what am I about to deal with just based off of where you are status-wise. And I'm sorry that sounds shitty, but I have to kind of be on alert for my protection. So I could always tell a homeless person from a mile away. But I do have to also recognize that some of them look well put together. Like, there's a lot of homeless men who are very, like, well built and have a lot of muscle. Let's say that. Like that. Like they have no choice but to push up all the time. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But so anyway, the point is, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them in downtown, and that makes sense, of course, because it's an interconnected space. They have more accessibility and resources available to them, so I can understand why they would dwell in downtown. I can't even be mad at that, but I also have to rearrange and adjust the way that I live because of them. Okay. That sounds so shitty. No, but seriously, like, there is an adjustment for civilians who are not homeless to those who are. And this brings me to the Jordan Neely situation, or the death rather, that took place a few days ago in New York City. So Jordan Neely was, because he has passed, he was a young black man who was homeless, or was without a house, and he was known for imitating Michael Jackson. So he had the whole Michael Jackson gear, from the Jerry curl to the red leather jacket. I'm sure it's pleather, right? But nonetheless, he had the aesthetic of Michael Jackson. He copied his moves. Many people in New York City, were probably already familiar of him prior to this story. One day he decided to go into the train, as many homeless people do. But this time around, he said a couple of words that made him even more of a target. And I'm going to say more of a target because oftentimes homeless people are seen as targets, right? They're seen as the crumbs of society. They're disregarded, and sure, it's not okay to do that. It's, they're human beings. They deserve justice just like us all. But oftentimes they are the class that is unprotected, as well as prostitutes. And that's just what it is in our society. So he gets on this train and he starts screaming. Now, for those who may not know about New York is a mind your business city. It ain't my business. That ain't got shit to do with me. Just keep your head looking forward. Don't pay attention to what's going on around you. Get off at your stop and go home. And that is the attitude that many people have in New York City. I would also say in many, like, cities around the country. Like, I think that's similar to Boston as well. Like, for me, I always was like that also. Like, ain't got shit to do with me, mind your business. Because as soon as you stare too long to someone or at someone, your life is in danger. Like, I learned that quick, taking the bus home from school and always coming across people who were either homeless or just mentally ill. And that was many times one and the same. So I had to learn quick, don't stare too long at someone. They could get offended. They create this scenario in their head, and now, boom, they're their stick is up in your face. You know, they may be carrying a cane stick or whatever, and shit, it just becomes too much of an issue. So just literally don't pay attention. And I think I still have that. I know I still do, because for me, it takes a lot for me to give you eye contact. I just always learn to avert my eyes. Like, don't. It's kind of sad. Like, don't stare at people too long, because you could get hurt. Anyway, so he gets on this train and he says, I don't have food. I don't have a drink. I'm fed up. He then says, I don't mind going to jail and getting life in prison. I'm ready to die. Now, here's the thing. Many people who have ridden trains in New York City, this is pretty common in those trains. You know, you have people performing on a train, doing freestyle dances, rapping, all of that to get a couple of dollars, you know, just be entertainment for the passengers there, the pedestrians that, you know, walk by. Like, a lot of people are always putting on a show in these spaces. So again, being that New York City is a mind your business type of city, people like this don't get attention still. So despite maybe some alarming words of him saying, I'm ready to die, because that could set off the alert of, oh, he's about to go off and be crazy, because he doesn't care about life. He doesn't care about spending some time in jail, because he is that hungry. He's that fed up. He may kill me. He may hurt me, right? So, but, you know, being that New York City is this mind your business type of city, it's not going to take heed, if at all, to what he's saying. But a veteran did. Now, I'm still trying to understand. I haven't really gotten across to, like, reading an article about what happened. I just been watching different videos. But I know a veteran is responsible for choking him out, which led to his death. I don't know if the veteran was they said he's a 24-year veteran. Now, I don't know if he was 24 years old and happened to be a veteran, or he had 24 years of service and he's a veteran from that. You know what I mean? So I don't know which one it was, but nonetheless, he's a veteran. And he decided to just choke him out. He decided to go up to him and choke him out. And not only did he choke him out, there were a couple of people who helped in his death. And by helped, I mean who pinned him down as this veteran was choking him out. Now, all of that is strange to me, because first of all, why are you helping to choke this guy out who didn't physically attack anyone, who didn't attack anyone first? And my thing is, if you're trying to restrain him from possibly hurting someone, restrain him by sitting him down, or, like, you know, there's a way to do it without getting to death. Like, I don't understand why it had to escalate, but, you know, things can escalate so fast that you don't realize until it happens. So maybe it wasn't intentional, but nonetheless, I do think what happened was wrong. He did not deserve to die. I understand that with the words that he said, maybe some people, maybe that veteran felt triggered, you know, being a veteran and having some flashbacks come to mind. Sometimes with people, you know how some people will be like, you know, don't hit first, but you better hit back. You know, so if you get attacked, you have every right to defend yourself. Some people will do the first hit because someone has to do it, right? But some people will do the first hit to prevent themselves from being attacked anyway, to have more of an advantage. So maybe this veteran felt like, I have to take the first hit. I have to hit this guy first. I have to prevent him from doing something that he may do. He may or may not have done something, but this veteran felt like he had to step up first. Now, it's all just, I feel like unfortunate is not the right word, but it's disturbing. It's sad that he did pass from this. But I mean, let's just talk about homeless people for a second. I mean, let's just can we kind of switch up the tone for a second? R.I.P. Let's see. How do I want to say this? Some of these motherfuckers gotta go. Hello? Is the mic on? Some of them, I'm sorry. There's a couple of homeless people around this area that I see frequently. Look, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was telling her how, living in downtown, there's a lot of homeless activity, and I can't really, walk around if I wanted to. I frequent a park that's nearby, which is a pretty safe park, and I really enjoy that park, and that park is great. But I also was just saying to her, I go to that park a lot because I really can't walk around my neighborhood like that. It's not really a walk around type of aesthetic. And I said because of the homeless people that I see a lot that is living in wherever. I remember one time I was walking towards the front door of my complex, and there was this homeless guy standing still, right, probably 3 feet away from the front door, and he's standing still in a way that he's staring still, he had a shock face on. His eyes were bugged out. He was just standing frozen. He was standing still. I'm going to keep on saying that because I want you guys to capture the image. He's standing still, not moving at all, eyes bugged out. You see the white part of his eye, whatever that's called. I forget. But he's standing so fucking still. And it was like, nigga, what the fuck, dog? It's shit like that I just feel towards a lot of homeless people, because it's look, can you just stop? Can you stop? Can you fucking stop? Can you stop? No, can you stop though? It's stuff like that just irritates me, because what are you doing? What are you trying to do right now? Are you trying to intimidate me? Are you trying to make me feel uncomfortable? And, me learning things from a young age, I have to present this I'm not afraid persona or appearance. I have to be unfazed. I have to act like I didn't see this nigga. Even though I obviously saw him, I had to keep walking straight. But obviously, I'm still at a swivel. I am still cognizant of him possibly running up. I don't know. But nonetheless, I was aware of his presence. But I was just very annoyed because what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing, dog? Can you go? But I don't have anywhere to go. What does that do with me? It's just shit like that. It's a lot. And I don't mean to sound like a dick. I feel like I sound like a dick. But it's just, there's a store I was trying to walk into because I wanted to grab something real quick. And as soon as I parked, I noticed this guy, a homeless guy, I'm sure, standing right next to the front door of this store. And it looks like he's trying, as a patron was walking into the store, he is trying to talk to the patron. I'm sure he's asking for some money or whatever it was. And he's it was like he was just talking so fast and yo, I gotta, doing all of that. And he, his hand movements were rapid, and his face was screwed up, just that rapper face. He had this hat on. Looked like he was kind of sweating too. It just was a lot. Like, you know what? I wanted to go inside the store, but after I saw this man, I was like, never mind. I literally backed up out of that parking spot. I parked right in front of that store. I saw firsthand, first row of what this guy was doing. I was like, let me go ahead and back up and head out. I'm going to go ahead and head out. You know, like shit like that, just be like, what the fuck are we doing, dog? Like, you know, and I get it. Like, they're obviously in need, right? Like, they're obviously struggling, you know, and I just don't want to be bothered still. Like, I still don't want to be, but I want to walk into the pizza shop and not have to be bombarded with, you got money? Do you have $1? I don't want to be bombarded with you smelling like Henny and Jack. I don't want to be bombarded with you smelling like fish, dog. Like, I don't want you to wrap around me. I don't want you to, hey mama, how you doing? How you doing today? You looking good? You got $1 for me, Miss Mama? I don't. I'm sorry. Now, look, R.I.P. to Jordan Neely, but I'm just making this as an overall general statement. A lot of these homeless people just go over there, okay? It's just annoying. It's annoying, dog. Like, how'd you even get on the fucking train? I don't have food. I don't have a drink, but you had enough. You got on the train, though. How? Y'all, let me end this episode. I'm about to go off. But it's just shit like that. It's just, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not discounting his death. He should never died. I'm just speaking to how homeless people are. Some of them. I'm speaking to that. I'm speaking to just the inconvenient. Well, I'm sure it's inconvenient to live under a bridge, huh? Have some sympathy, Maxie. I get it. I sound like a dick. I'm just being honest right now, dog. Like, that shit, like, when I tell you that guy who was standing right next to my door, or the front door of my complex, that shit was so crazy to me. Like, wait, what? Why is he standing right there? And why is he looking like that? And why I gotta act like I don't see him so I can survive? Like, or I'm doing two things at the same time. I gotta act like I don't see him, but I definitely see him. But I gotta act like I don't, so he won't try to. It's just this weird mind game. It's a lot, yo. It's a lot. So I'm just ready to move up out of the city. I had my time. I always said I wanted to live in the city, and I could check that off the box. Now I'm ready to find a home that's in the suburbs. Maybe not like completely suburbia, but definitely suburbs-esque at the very least. So, God bless. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check in with you all next time. God bless. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. If you liked it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. God bless.